This is someone who's a little more well known as far as me being able to poke around the internet and see. It is LOTT CARY. LOTT CARY. And I found his name spelled different ways. I don't actually know if it's C-A-R-Y or C-A-R-E-Y. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, no, you'll find that. I mean, even George Lyle's name, you'll find it spelled differently. You'll find it L-I-E-L-E. You'll find it L-I-S-L-E. Sometimes you'll even see him referred to as George Sharp.
Wow! I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, because he was owned by Henry Sharp. So this is as a result of slavery, man, and of our names and identities being altered and changed and adapted and things of that nature. So yeah.
This is some people know about William Carey, missionary to India in 1794, sometimes called the father of modern missions. But now we're going to learn about LOTT CARY, a former slave. Do you want to kick him off? You want to begin it?
Well, for those that think that Pan-Africanism is alien to Christianity.
Real quick, could you define Pan-Africanism loosely? The idea that to be able to have sort of the right to self-determination, to have some kind of form of sovereign, independent government as far as peoples of African descent who are in the Western Hemisphere. One of the best things that can be done for peoples of African descent in the Western Hemisphere is to unite in some way with African peoples and often to physically return there. And so LOTT CARY, 1780 to 1828, he was instrumental in the founding of Liberia, and we'll talk a little bit about what that means in a second here. He was born in slavery in Virginia, and he purchased his family's freedom at the age of 33. He helped found the African Missionary Society. Then he migrated to Liberia in 1821, and he is kind of in the early pioneer missions as well, just like David George that we talked about. And he established Liberia's first church, according to my understanding. He founded schools there as well and helped the young colony as a military organizer and then as its governor. So LOTT CARY was somebody who was a political leader as well, but with a gospel-centered view. So beautiful stuff there. Very good to see. So
LOTT is an interesting guy. LOTT, of course, was born into slavery. Ultimately, he ends up being contracted to work in Richmond, and he starts out his work. I forget exactly what he did while he was in Richmond, but he started out as just a regular sort of low-level worker, and eventually, because of his work ethic and skill, he becomes a supervisor, and ultimately he earns enough money to buy his own freedom, but not his own freedom, but he also buys the freedom of his family, right? His whole family. Mm-hmm. Yep, his whole family,
which is amazing.
Exactly. And so during this time, right? So this is after the Revolutionary War. And so you have abolitionists that want the slaves to be free, and they see the migration of slaves to Liberia, or former slaves to Liberia, as a positive thing. You have slave owners that there's all these free blacks running around, so they have an interest in seeing them leave to Africa as well. And you have to imagine that at this time, a lot of the African Americans were, second generation, Americans.
Yeah. He talks about his grandmother actually was instrumental in teaching him about Christianity.
Right. So a lot of them didn't want to go back to Liberia, but LOTT CARY goes back to Liberia by choice. As a matter of fact, he goes back because he says he's an African. He identifies with Africa so much that he decides that he's going to pick up and go. And Vocab, I don't know how much you read about his trials once he got there, but there were natives, and the natives there, they didn't take too kindly to to these ships arriving with these, American colonists, Black American colonists coming, into their territory. And so, LOTT CARY had to spend a lot of time, not just sharing the gospel and not just seeing after his family and not just, helping to establish a civilization, but he also had to spend a lot of time in combat with those that, didn't want to see the Black people from America flourish there. Right. But ultimately,
can I read one little paragraph on that?
Sure.
Just as a quick one.
Sure.
The work was hard and often unrelenting. This is from Free Indeed again. I'm reading here from page 76. During the rough early days, Cary confronted one group of discouraged settlers and talked them out of returning to Sierra Leone. Some of the native tribes resented the establishing of the colony near their lands. That's in reference to Liberia. And they harried it with raids. Cary compared the battles in building Liberia to those of Nehemiah and the children of Israel in rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem, even to the point of holding weapons close at hand as they worked. This is a different type of missionary activity, right? Yet he said, there never has been an hour or a minute, no, not even when the bullets were flying around my head, when I could wish myself again in America. That's some resolute determination right there.
Yep. And he actually ultimately dies as a result of an injury he sustains as a result of these weapons. And so this man was committed to the gospel. He establishes, the Providence Baptist Church, which later becomes the capital, Monrovia, right? He is made a governor of Liberia. And as a Christian, he is committed to Christ, but he's also committed to his African heritage, even to the point of death. So LOTT CARY is that dude. And a lot of the National Baptist Convention was established as a result of a desire to continue the work of LOTT CARY and continue missions in Africa. So
you mentioned his death. Let me read the last paragraph on that. Cary, this is page 78. Trouble broke out again when one of the native tribes, and with a slave trader. Cary began organizing the defense of the colony. So let me just stop. I'm going to read the rest of this. But to the Kemets who want to attack Black Christianity, this man is literally defending Liberia with his life. This is a Christian man. These are the principles that drove him. It wasn't ancient Kemetic. This wasn't his masters sending him on a mission, anything like that. This is a gospel drive and a gospel call that he had, and he goes and he's defending while preaching. I mean, this is phenomenal stuff, and this needs to be known and heard. Cary began organizing the defense of the colony. He and several other colonists were preparing cartridges on November 8th, 1828, when someone knocked a candle over into the gunpowder. The ensuing explosion fatally injured 8 people. Among them was Cary, who died 2 days later. And so, let me read one last thing here. This is cool. This is where there's a native in Sierra Leone who heard a snippet of the gospel. And he wanted to hear more about this. This man traveled 80 miles to speak with Cary. Imagine that. Imagine that. And this person was converted. Cary baptized him and gave him his first communion. And listen to this. This is the halting English that was recorded, in which this new convert gave his testimony here. All the time my heart trouble me, all day. All night me can't sleep. By and by my heart grow too big. Me fall down this time. Now me can pray. Me say, Lord, have mercy. Then light come in my heart. Make me glad. Make me light. Make me love the Son of God. Make me love everybody. That is a powerful testimony.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anything else about Cary? I mean, there's a lot to say. It looks like he's got a little part there. You see, he's got a little part, don't he?
Yeah. Cary was a classic man, like Jadena. You know what I mean?
You had to go there, didn't you? You had to. Yeah, no, when I saw him, I was like, all right, with the little part.
Yeah.
I mean, no one's ever
But-
going to beat Frederick Douglass's Maine, but that part's pretty nice.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but we're going to see, as we talk about Samuel Morse, we're actually going to see the fruit of Cary's work. You know, because you have Samuel Morse, which is also another remarkable story. So,
Apologist, street apologist, street apologist, street apologist, street apologist.